Hey there, folks! Welcome back to another episode where we take your favorite films and hilariously butcher their plots. Today, we're venturing into the red deserts of Mars with the epic movie The Martian. Hold on to your space helmets, we're about to deliver a galactic summary that's out of this world, and we are doing it really, really poorly. Our space odyssey begins in the not-so-distant future, precisely in the year 2035. It's an era of technological marvels, scientific advancements, and interplanetary dreams. The Hermes crew, a bunch of brave explorers, is having what you'd call a lovely Martian vacation. They're on the space equivalent of a road trip, and it's all fun and games until Mother Nature, or more precisely, Mother Mars, decides to throw a massive dust tantrum. Imagine a serene Martian landscape, the vast expanse of red desert, the shimmering sunsets, and the otherworldly calm. The crew is there to soak it all in, conducting experiments, taking selfies with the rusty Martian landscape, and just generally living the space explorer dream. They're even exchanging space postcards and high-fiving each other in their snazzy spacesuits. Life is good. But as luck, or perhaps cosmic misfortune, would have it, a Martian dust storm brews on the horizon. And this isn't your average run-of-the-mill dust storm. This is a dust tantrum of epic proportions. It's like Mars decided it was tired of being all calm and decided to throw a massive temper tantrum. The winds howl, the dust flies, and suddenly their chill Martian expedition turns into a full-blown dust disaster. They're stuck in their habitat, known as the Hab, and they're all glum, watching the storm rage outside. The crew, led by Commander Lewis, has no choice but to abort the mission and continue on to the MAV that's supposed to take them to their orbiting Hermes spacecraft. And just when they think the worst is over, Mars decides to add a plot twist to their space adventure. A piece of debris from a satellite dish comes hurtling towards them like a cosmic curveball. And who's in the path of this cosmic baseball? Our main man, the man of the hour, the one and only Mark Watney. Watney, who probably had plans to catch up on some intergalactic Netflix shows or read sci-fi novels during the storm, instead gets smacked by this debris like a baseball to the face. It's a bad day for Watney, to say the least. His spacesuit's biomonitor gets pierced by satellite antenna and goes haywire, and he's left in a Martian wilderness that's about as friendly as a Martian dust storm. To make matters worse, the crew, thinking he's Martian toast, evacuates and leaves him behind. Can you believe it? It's like they're in such a hurry to leave this cosmic carnival of chaos that they forget to count heads. Or maybe they just didn't want to deal with the mess of Martian dust in their spaceship, the Hermes. In the end, we have a lone astronaut, Mark Watney, stranded on the red planet, with nothing but his wits, some NASA gear, and a whole lot of Martian real estate to keep him company. And to add a little dramatic flair to the story, his spacesuit's biomonitor is in pieces, making him officially the loneliest person in the universe. So long, Ares 3 crew. Hello, Mark Watney's Martian solo adventure. With his communication gear kaput, Mark has to channel his inner MacGyver to survive. Here he is, stranded on the dusty red planet with limited supplies and a to-do list that includes don't die. Now, you might wonder, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you're stuck in the middle of a desolate Martian desert? Food, of course. And that's exactly what Mark's thinking. But here's the twist. He's not just looking for any kind of food. He's aiming for a gourmet Martian meal. So, what's on the menu, you ask? Potatoes. Yes, you heard that right, folks. He's going to farm potatoes on Mars using Martian soil and, well, some other ingredients. But it's not your typical everyday farming story. This is space farming at its finest. You see, Mark is not just your average astronaut. He's a botanist with a green thumb that reaches all the way to the cosmos. So, he gets his hands on some Martian soil, not from the local Martian Home Depot, mind you, and starts the ultimate space gardening experiment within the Hab. And to give those potatoes a boost, he's got a secret ingredient, human waste. That's right. He's using his own, and the rest of the crew's, well, let's just call it bio-waste, to fertilize his Martian potato farm. And as for water, he burns hydrazine rocket fuel, which gives water a byproduct. Barring a small explosion, Mark's farming is off to a great start. We've officially reached peak sci-fi, my friends. This is space survival meets MasterChef. Now, while Mark is busy playing Martian farmer, back on good old Earth, NASA is having a moment. They've got to make a tough call, and it's not about what's for lunch in the cafeteria. They're holding a somber press conference to declare Mark as good as gone. It's like the universe's worst eulogy, and people are heartbroken. They're mourning the loss of their favorite space potato enthusiast. But here's the twist in this intergalactic tale. NASA learns Mark's alive and kicking, or should I say, alive and potatoing. He's not just talking to potatoes, that would be a whole different kind of sci-fi story. Back on Earth, NASA's eagle-eyed satellite planner, Mindy Park, is doing what she does best, keeping an eye on Mars. It's her job to analyze satellite images and make sure everything's A-OK in the Martian neighborhood. But on this fateful day, she spots something fishy. Or should I say, something Watney. She sees some suspicious activity on the Martian surface. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. So she's like, Houston, we have a Watney. She's spotted our stranded botanist buddy, Mark, doing his Martian potato dance. But here's the kicker. The NASA bigwigs decide to keep it hush-hush. They don't want to distract the Hermes crew from their mission. Talk about workplace secrets, right? It's like your coworker finding out there's free pizza in the break room, but deciding to keep it to themselves. Meanwhile, Mark is on a road trip. Well, not your typical road trip with scenic views and roadside diners, but a Martian road trip. He's on a quest to retrieve the Pathfinder probe, which, by the way, hasn't said a word since 1997. It's like that old cell phone you find in the back of your drawer, and you're not sure if it's going to work. With the ingenuity of a mad scientist, Mark rigs up a makeshift communication system using Pathfinder's camera and some old-school signs. It's like Martian Morse code, but with a dash of creativity. He's basically sending NASA a selfie from Mars, an out-of-this-world Snapchat, if you will. So, when you hear that Mark is talking to potatoes, don't be alarmed. He's actually chatting with NASA, updating them on his space escapades, and making us all believe in the power of science, potatoes, and good old-fashioned determination. Back home, it's chaos at NASA. They're in a race against time to figure out a way to resupply Mark, who's still sciencing the heck out of survival on Mars. So they decide to send a rocket to bring him some much-needed supplies. But you know what happens? Boom. The rocket goes kaboom. It's like trying to mail a care package to Mars, and someone at the post office accidentally hits the self-destruct button. Oops. But wait, there's a twist. China is sitting on a little secret. The Taiyang Shen, a super-duper booster rocket that could save the day. They're willing to help Mark in exchange for a seat on the next Ares mission. It's like interplanetary bartering. Hey, we'll give you a ride to Mars if you save our space bacon. But hold on to your helmets because genius Rich Purnell, who's a mix of Einstein and a mad scientist, comes up with a plan that's so crazy, it just might work. His idea? Instead of a straightforward Mars mission, why not slingshot the Hermes around Earth and head back to Mars 2 years early? It's like trying to take a shortcut through the solar system, and it's so insane that even NASA isn't convinced. But you know who is convinced? The Hermes crew. They go all rogue, disable NASA's remote control, and change the spaceship's course. It's like they're taking matters into their own hands, and they're not about to wait around for NASA's paperwork to catch up. The crew is like, hold my spacesuit, we're going to get our boy Mark back. It's the ultimate space mutiny, and it's all in the name of rescuing our favorite space botanist. This is where things get really interesting, because the countdown to Mark's rescue is on, and it's going to be one heck of a ride. Mark is on a 90-sol journey to the Ares 4 MAV. Picture this. He's in his trusty Martian rover, chugging along the dusty Martian landscape. But there's a tiny problem. The MAV is thick and needs to shed a huge amount of weight to even pull out of Mars' atmosphere. It's like a bad interplanetary Tinder date. They both swiped right, but now the Mauve is ghosting him, and he's stuck working on removing all the extra fitting to the spacecraft, like seats, monitors, manual flight control, doors, and even the nose of the craft, which the genius minds in NASA suggest to cover with a tarp to achieve the same effect. I don't know about you guys, but that does not sound safe at all. But just when things seem to be heading towards a cosmic disaster, Commander Lewis goes full Iron Man on us. She decides to breach the airlock in a daring move. How, you ask? By making the resident German create a space-made bomb. It's like opening the emergency exit on a plane while it's in the air. A bit crazy, but sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do. The air rushes out and the spaceship slows down enough for Mark to make his move. It's a scene straight out of a space action movie, and it's edge-of-your-seat kind of stuff. In a desperate moment, Mark pierces his pressure suit and uses the escaping air to propel himself towards Commander Lewis. It's like a high-stakes game of cosmic catch, and Mark is the ball. They're hurtling through space, reaching out for each other, and at the last moment, they collide. Mark is back in the crew's loving arms, and it's a reunion that's out of this world. It's like the ultimate space hug, and you can almost hear the sighs of relief echoing through the cosmos. So, after all the ups and downs, the close calls, and the daring maneuvers, Mark is no longer the lonely Martian. He's back with his crew, and they're hurtling back towards Earth. It's a moment of triumph, and it's the kind of stuff that space legends are made of. Mark Watney, the guy who survived against all odds on the Red Planet, is finally on his way home. It's a cosmic victory, and it's a journey that's been nothing short of extraordinary. And that, my friends, is how Mark Watney went from being a space castaway to an interstellar superstar. He's back on Earth, sharing his wisdom as a survival instructor and probably giving the best TED Talks in the galaxy. I mean, who wouldn't want to learn survival skills from the guy who turned his own waste into a potato farm on Mars? As for the Ares 5, it's preparing to launch, and everyone who played a part in Mark's epic rescue is living their best lives. They're the unsung heroes of the universe, the ones who defied the odds and brought Mark Watney back from the brink of oblivion. It's a story of human determination, teamwork, and the refusal to leave a man behind, even when he's 225 million kilometers away. Thanks for joining us on this cosmic roller coaster through The Martian. If you enjoyed this wild ride and had a laugh or two along the way, don't forget to hit that like button. Share the video with your fellow space enthusiasts, and subscribe for more hilariously bad recaps of your favorite movies. Until next time.